Hello! Today is December 25th, the day that Baldwin of Boulogne was crowned King of Jerusalem. It's also Christmas. So Merry Christmas from the dark side. Also in between the episodes, I decided to expand our emerald farm. The problem was, I kept running out of flight time. That is because the Flugel Tiara has a limited flight duration, and if you want to make it unlimited, you have to use the Eye of the Flugel. How do you get the Eye of the Flugel? From the Guardian of Gaia. And obviously, you have to get lucky, which I was. Therefore, the work on the emerald farm could continue without any interruptions, but the problem now was, it's slow and grindy. And I'm lazy. Very lazy. But thankfully, we did have Direwolf in our lives, and he managed to provide us with a wonderful opportunity. The copy and paste gadget. Amazing! I know. Also, progress on the Nitro Crystal Singularity was incredibly slow because we only had one rod, one ender cell, because symmetry is important. But time is much more important there. Therefore, we're going to have two of them, and ignore symmetry. That was the update of everything that has happened. Now what is the rest of the plan? I'm very glad that you asked, because we're going to play around with blood. Obviously, we need to start by having a blood altar, a sacrificial dagger. We just keep stabbing ourselves. A very important disclaimer, don't do it in F5 because you need to see your hearts. Once we have blood, we put some string, that gives us rudimentary snares. Just to make your pain and suffering a bit easier, you can also make an incense altar. If you're standing close to it, your sacrificial knife is going to glow, you get a boost, and you don't die. And just to clarify, yes, we did manage to get a weak blood orb from the dungeons. Normally you would have to grind for a bit, but we did manage to get a few ruins. Let's use them. A single blood altar is tier 1. If you make a base for it, it's now tier 2. And yes, we already have runes of self-sacrifice, so that is great. We can donate more blood. The blood altar is tier 2, now we also need a tier 2 orb. How do we do that? Block of redstone. I know what you're thinking. Let's set up the altar in our ME room. But no, I'm also a very wise person. It's gonna be cluttered. Just to make our mundane and easy life much more easier, what we're going to do is to use a lifestone, like so. We are going to regen incredibly fast and we will have unlimited saturation. We need to upgrade the altar and we need a ton of slates. We need to cheat. And just in case you're one of those people who minimizes my video and then plays something else, cheating does not refer to actual cheating, it refers to the pedestals. And the effects of the pedestals stack up. And just like that, a tier 3 altar, as well as a tier 3 orb. We have everything which is tier 3, but for tier 4, we need something very special. A very weak blood shard. All we need to do is to have a master ritual stone, a ritual diviner with hidden realm, and the ability to hold right click. There you go. We also need to have some life essence in our network, so we right click with the orb, and we put it on top of the altar. Since we do not have a divination sigil, I'm going blind over here, and I'm assuming we have enough life essence in our network. If we activate the ritual with a weak activation crystal, voila, we can go in. We do get some keys. Very important. We also get a manosteel, which is far more important, because as you guys remember, there is a manosteel singularity, and that will make us much more closer to our goal. How much to be exact? 0.0001%. But we have some work to do, so let's do that. You might notice that there are spawners, and this is exactly what we're looking for. Tau fruit. But Lush, you don't really need Tau fruit, you need the saturated version. And I would like to agree with you. That is absolutely true. And it's also easy to achieve. You just plant it and drop a cow on top. And you know, plant it again cause the cow broke it. While the Tau fruit is growing and it does take ages for it to grow, let us address something very important. Mana generation. We need to speed up the Rafflesia. Yes, you might notice that we have enchanted soil. That is obviously a huge boost on its own. You know, to do that, you just need to right click grass with overgrowth seed. But what we're going to do is that we're going to have another Ronan Carpus, replace the blocks under them with moss, reduce the timer to maybe 200 ticks. It can actually be lower than that, 140. Yes, exactly. Now it's working constantly. However, we can also upgrade the Elven Mana Spreader to Gaia Mana Spreader, which is going to be significantly faster with a Mana Lens. 43%. We are making progress. Once the fruit grows, you're going to get saturated Tau, and you will lose the cow. But cows are insignificant. Do you remember at the start of the episode, we made something called rudimentary snares? And if you remembered, good job. It is not just blood. We also need demon will, which means all you have to do is to throw it at a mob. Again, yes, he's missing particle effects. But there you go. We have some demon will. Let's get one more, get ourselves a Hellfire Forge, and then obviously use it in order to make a few Tartaric gems. The Petty Tartaric Gem. We're going to have two. We shall convert one of them into the Sentient Sword, and obviously we enchant it just in case. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to hunt mobs. It is very important that you have looting on your Sentient Sword, and I had to mix and match a few swords. But we do have looting now. That means we should be able to upgrade our Tartaric Gem into a Lesser Tartaric Gem. Once the Lesser Tartaric Gem is full, we just need a block of gold, diamonds, and one imbued slate. And this is the one that we want, the Common Tartaric Gem. And guess what? we have to fill this one too. We have 446 more demonic will, and you might notice it's not full yet, but it doesn't have to be. That is because we only need 350, of which 30 is going to be drained. I am not your dog, and I'm not your dog, but I was AFKing, and we have the saturated tau fruit. The stupid saturated tau fruit that we have has to be cut. That should give us a weak blood shard. That's all we wanted, obviously, for the moment. And again, just like that, here is a tier 4 blood altar. And unfortunately, we cannot make the orb because we need one more shard. It was a bit of an oversight, I know. What can you do? But don't you worry, we are progressing. That is not a huge deal because now we can make the demonic slate. Gathering demonic will using mob farms is great and fun, but that's not how the professionals do that. The way that the professionals do that is like this. Farming crystals. Cause you know, it's relatively fast. Also, I am very sorry I cannot explain how it works because it is magic and Lord Clark tells us not to explain it. So moving along, after ages later, we have a few blood shards. Whenever you're harvesting saturated tau, there is a chance of getting between 1 and 3 crops. And also whenever you're cutting it, there is a chance of getting an extra one. So the first time that we did that, our logs were garbage. And I would like to mention that this time, it was fairly better. Anywho. The Master Blood Orb. And obviously we also need to craft something else. So a demonic slate, a demonic will, the crystal, a weak blood shard, and I forgot the rest. Ah, yes, the common tartaric gem, which has to be full. Come on dude, charge up. Now we can upgrade it. In this version, the greater tartaric gem is the final gem that you can get. And also the reason that we needed the Master Blood Orb is that we need to make a very special rune. It is called the Rune of the Orb and it's going to increase the orb's capacity by 4%. Why is it important? I will tell you. Our next goal is to upgrade the altar to tier 5 so that we would be able to get some ethereal slates, and for that we need to perform a new ritual, the pathway to the endless realm. An activation cost is 150 LP. Our current network is around 100,000. Go to hell. I believe we should have enough blood. Let us activate the ritual. Thank you. And see you in hell. Welcome to hell. Oh yes, Man of Steel. Name tags. Thank you. And let us go in. I think it is fairly obvious that a sword is going to be very useful. And that is what we are looking for, Demonites. And we actually got incredibly lucky. Some saturated tau, finally. So I have found a lovely room full of Demonite, and I have found a lovely key within this room, and there's also a spatial distortion. Where is it and how does the key work? I have no idea. Wait a minute, there is another key. I have the foreman's key. We need the miner's key. And my biggest challenge at this very moment, apart from all the crazy mobs, is that how the hell do I get back here? Yeah, this is going to be much better. We're going to have a matter receiver and one ender gate. Oh, and by the way, as for Demonite, we are already doing well. We needed 36, we have 37. Also a few bits and pieces, but we don't care. That's all we need. Very good. We have the miner's key, and we try this again. That's not the one. Are you gonna open it? No. You? No. I honestly don't know. I don't remember which room was the spatial distortion, and I don't even know if this is the door. Those are not very important. The important part is we have the Hellforge blocks. All 4 that we needed. And guess what we have? We also have a well of suffering. We want the witches to suffer. A bit. Oh, potions go through. These are the ones that I captured from the Guardian of Gaia fight, but maybe I have to spawn a bit more. We have essence, it's fine. So let us activate the ritual and enjoy some life essence. Oh, finally, that took a while. Also, since we are no longer sacrificing ourselves, we need to change the runes. Previously it was 50 millibuckets, now it's 70. Not the best. We need more witches. Also, I do need to make them shut up. Hello! Believe it or not, it has been actually the next day. And no, obviously it is not Christmas, I'm just recording this one for Christmas. The part with the blood altar took ages, but I also made myself a divination sigil and we have 11.6 million LP, which is very important. Do you know why? Rituals run on LP. We have a well of suffering over here and we do have another ritual over there. So we need to have a huge buffer so that if I go AFK, I don't get nausea, just in case we run out of LP. From the other bits and bobs and dust that we got, I also did manage to make an Archmage's blood orb, you know, the purple one, and I think we are ready to make some ethereal slates, which is obviously one of the easiest things to automate, and I have no idea why they decided to go with that, because all we need to do is to have a refined EMC link with stone, an entangled block for the blood altar, a hopper, we just entangle the blood altar, extract with a pipe, with a filter for ethereal slates. That's it. And you know, the ender chest, so it should automatically make it for us. I'm also not very worried about the speed because every time that it does this, it's going to make us 1 stack of ethereal slates. That's 20 singularities. Anyways, that does take care of ethereal slate. Now we need to move on to another singularity, which I think we should start it as soon as possible because we're wasting time. And yes, that is the Man of Steel singularity. And why are we wasting time? Do you see the Rafflesia? It's not working. If something is not working, it's just wasting time. But I'm not exactly sure how we want to do this. First off, let us have a mana pool over here. We shall give you a spark, but we want this spark to be dominant. So there you go. Here is an augment, perfect. And I guess here's how we're going to do this. We're going to have a dropper going into an open crate, an EMC link with iron. Wait a minute, do we even need to have the dropper? Cause I don't think we do. We just use the open crate with a hopper. And you know, see if it works. Well, it does work. There's really not that many ways of doing this anyways. How do we set a filter for you? Oh, you're a garbage one. This is the advanced one. Only whitelist for manosteel. Perfect. That's the entire automation. I don't think there's any other way of doing that. Although the main question would be, is our mana generation going to keep up? I think it should. It doesn't look like much, but it's fairly decent. Also, since we have been wasting a ton of time, I have been crafting a few mana steels manually, but this is the rate that we're getting it now, which is good. I like it. The reason that I'm worried if our mana generation is going to keep up is that we do have a whitelist for mana steel, but if the mana runs out, then we're not going to generate any more mana steel and there's going to be millions of iron on the ground. So I did make myself a floating mana star, because if you place down a mana star, the Rafflesia is going to eat that. If the particles are blue, it means that we're gaining mana, and if it's red, it means that we're losing it. So I don't know, it's sometimes red, it's sometimes blue. And the reason that I have lost a decent amount of mana is that they filled in this guy, so this is why they're a bit lower than they should be. But it does seem that we're keeping up. That's good. Also, I just wanted to mention something about blood magic. The reason that I rushed with the altar and everything is that, yes, even though this looks massive and very complicated, it's just like a crafting table. That's it. The only thing that it does is crafting something. Progression of blood magic is never about the altar, it's about what you do with that stupid altar. And unfortunately, in many mod packs, there's not that many uses for the altar. That's the entire progression. Maybe apart from Divine Journey, maybe we play that one after this? I don't know. Just as a very small update, it does seem that we have enough pig iron to make all the singularities that we want. We have 343,000 of it. That should be more than enough. Yeah, you need 128 per singularity. If you need 2000 singularities, that's 256,000. Which the number of singularities that we need is not even 2000, it's something around 1700. I did use a calculator. So you are no longer required. It's not just you that are no longer required. It's even the smeltery. Also, just in case you're wondering, as I have already mentioned, everything for the ultimate and endgame crafting goes inside the QIO network. So everything that we need for the endgame is right over here, not in the ME system. And yes, you might notice that a few singularities are already finished. Indirium, Magenta Matter, Uranite, Nether Star, Nitro Crystals, and Corrupted Ingot is going to be finished very soon. Also the Infused Ender Pearls, Mob Soul, and Palette and Brush. So I can remove a few from the list, I guess. Oh, there's not that many. Okay. However, now that we don't need pig iron anymore, we would be able to designate this area for something much more important. The processing add-on tier 2. We need around 90,000 and so far it has been a few bajillion episodes and we only have 27,000. Essentially what I'm trying to say is that let us try to increase our production. Very good. We have 4 more dissolution chambers and all of them are working at maximum speed. However, we have a new problem. Latex is not going to keep up. Ever. Oh, and yeah, we're losing it incredibly fast. Okay. I honestly have no idea how many are we going to need. 16 more? I did add 18 more, all of them are fully upgraded and it seems we're gaining some latex. Yeah, the tank is getting full. Because it was empty. It's fluctuating, but I think it's keeping up. That's fine by me. Another singularity which does require a bit of improvement is the source gem singularity. We only had 2 imbuement chambers, I'm adding more. Although that 2 actually gave us 401 singularities, so they were not that bad. It's just that we need more. And I just need to do some wiring. I think the source is gonna keep up. A bit crazy, I do admit, but that is a decent rate that we're getting source gems. I think it's more or less 1 every second. That's good, because we only need 45 per singularity. Is it? No, it's 90. Yeah, but if 2 of them gave us 400 singularities, 10 of them are going to give us a decent amount. Yeah, that is a decent amount. We already have 1,000. From all the singularities that you see over here, there are 2 of them that we have not touched. One of them is the wall singularity from the compact machines. The rest of them are already in progress, so we can't really do anything about them. Let us figure out the machine one first. We're going to need a field projector, and if we right click, it will tell us where to put the other ones. We can put one here. We don't want it to be massive, we want it to be the smallest size. Voila. I'm very sorry, but at first I need to understand how it works. And you know, determine how fast is it going to be. So we need a block of iron on the ground, that's easy to do. We need a redstone on top, and then we need to drop a pearl. Do the projectors have to be 1 block higher? That could be a thing. Yes. That's a thing. It does take a few seconds, but it does give you 16. Okay, at least now we know how it works. While we are doing this, I just wanted to mention something. A few days ago, I was watching Direwolf because he also automated the emerald clusters. He felt really good about himself when he discovered that he can use the builder. You know, the same setup that we have over here. He is using tick acceleration and we are not, so yeah. Our farms are a bit different. That part is not very important. The part which was important is that he was very happy with what he did, so he was asking if anybody else has done the same too. I was reading the comments and yes, the projector is very disproportionate, and I figured that every single person who has finished this mod pack on YouTube did exactly the same thing. Use a builder with Silk Touch. Granted, there are not that many methods in order to automate the production of clusters because you are going to need Silk Touch, except if you're using refined storage, because then you can use a deconstructor. But then I figured if everybody's doing exactly the same thing, then it's probably very boring for everyone. And by everyone, I meant you guys. Because basically you're watching the same thing happening over and over again, with just a different voice narrating. So here is what we're going to do. I do understand that I'm not a very technical person. I'm garbage at technical mods. But the part that I am a bit better is the magical side. So what we're going to do is that we're going to try and change every single automation, from now on at least, and try to include a bit of magic into it. I'm just hoping that by trying to do things differently, it's going to be less boring for you. Also, if it's not obvious, we're going to have 6 sets of projectors. That's going to give us 96 walls. That is enough for 2 singularities at every iteration. Of course, we are also going to have a block placer for each and every one. We can give it iron, it's going to place it down. But we want this guy to be on pulse, somehow. Do you even have a pulse? Ah, you do. So if I press the button, you're gonna place it? Very good. And I forgot the setting. Torch is on, you're on whatever that thing is. So torch on, that one. It's just that everything has to be timed perfectly, and I don't really know how to do that. I ran into a problem which I have no idea why it's happening, but it's happening, so I want to share it with you. I do have a Ronan Corpus down here on top of a block of iron, correct? So if I place down a block of iron like so, and you know, drop a piece of redstone, see what happens. You see? The Ronan Corpus placed it on the block. You would expect that if I drop a pearl, it's gonna craft a wall? Never mind then. Ah no, it's not crafting it. Yeah, that is a visual glitch. But if I remove the redstone and place it myself, and then drop that stupid pearl, see what happens. It's crafting it. What is wrong with the redstone? I have no idea. You see, we got the walls. And I don't think it really matters how the redstone actually looks. It can look like this or like this one. And if I drop the pearl, it should still work. Yeah. So what is wrong with the Ronin Corpus? Because you see, this should not happen. But if I change it, it works every time. Huh. Apparently, if we use a deployer, it's actually going to work. You see, it did place down the redstone, and if I press the button, we should get the wall. Very slowly, but we're going to get it. Yeah. So for some reason you just don't like my Ronin Corpus. That is fine by me. That's what we're going to do. This is the setup that we're going to go with, and 2 things have to be on a timer. One of them is the block placer, so that it will place down the block of iron, and the other one is the dropper, so that it will drop 1 ender pearl. Finally, I think we're done, so let me try to explain to you how everything works. Obviously, we do have a few motors with a ton of encased chain drives, so that we would be able to operate the deployers. Every single block placer and dropper is hooked up to an entangled block, so that it's getting the resources that it's going to need, for example ender pearls and blocks of iron. The deployers are also hooked up to entangled blocks, and they're getting redstone from this EMC link. And under every single contraption we do have an advanced item collector, which is whitelisted for compact machine walls. And you know, it goes into an ender chest. So just for testing purposes, let us see if it works. If I press this button, everyone should have a block of iron. Aha, so redstone doesn't go through entangled blocks. Why? It's gonna make it a bit easier, I guess. Yeah, to be honest with you, I think this is much simpler. Everybody should start crafting. Ah, do you know why? That one misfired because the ender pearl fell down here. So if we cover them like so, everything should be fine. Yep, everybody's crafting. With a delay, but at least everybody's crafting. The question is, yeah, we are getting the walls. All we need is a timer. We put it to 300 ticks just in case and see if it works. Yeah, it does. I don't know how long it takes, that's the problem. It works constantly, except you. There's another hole. That's my fault. Also, let us reduce the time to 250 ticks and try this again. Yeah, everybody seems to be working. Even you? No. What if we make a cover around them so that the pearl does not go out? Yeah, that is much better. I have been working on this place for a while, and it does seem that everything runs perfectly. And to be honest with you, we have 3,584 walls. That's a good number. And I literally just started, so it hasn't been that long. I have also just been editing the footage and I realized there could be some misunderstanding regarding my rant a few minutes ago, so I thought maybe I should clear things up. My nagging or my rant or whatever it is called was directed towards myself, not anybody else. I literally meant I have to be more creative and not go with the first and the easiest option. That's it. Also, I have no idea if someone else has done this or not. I didn't watch that long. So I might be talking for a while and everybody did the same thing. But I do understand that the easiest way of doing this is through a builder or the building gadgets. Well, I think we are done with this room. Not that it really matters, we don't have to come back here ever again. And I think our Singularity is also going to be ready very soon. We already have 12,000 walls and we need 90,000 and it's been, I don't know, maybe an hour? So very soon I just have to come back here and remove the repeaters so that we shut it off. But by having the walls, I think every single Singularity that we have is either automated or is in production. Even the XP jelly. All of them except one. Train tracks. This one I can't really do anything special because, you know, it's just one recipe for it. So I guess we have to do it in our create area and we're out of space. Uh-oh. I mean, I can't add anything here. We have to go that way. I'll be right back. Yeah, well, that's it. Train tracks in 3 lines. I mean, there's literally nothing to it. We have 2 deployers, 1 press. As for the rates, I think it's relatively decent. We don't need that much. It's 80 per Singularity. Considering the fact that I have still a lot of problems with the emerald clusters, I think we're doing good. This is not our bottleneck, ever. Also, a few episodes ago when I made this thing, somebody suggested that instead of putting it inside a barrel, why not put it on the belt directly? I'm a bit confused. If you don't use a funnel with a filter, how would you determine that, hey, don't pick up the dust? Because if that is a thing, I would really love to know, because I don't think you can put a filter on the arm itself. If you can, please let me know, because that would be awesome. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And also, Merry Christmas!